We just lost audio.
I don't think so, Kim. I just turned off the music because we couldn't hear you very well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like, wait a minute, I can't hear the music anymore.
yeah, yeah. It was a little bit hard to hear you.
You're watching us make the sausage. We're going to go on and get
Yeah.
started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us this evening. We are so glad to share this time with you. This is a special moment for the Indivisible Truth Brigade team, as it is our final formal Truth Brigade Big Truths call. And at a time for all of us to feel so much gratitude for the opportunity to work with all of you and together to make a real difference in many hearts and in many minds. Please say hi in the chat again if you haven't done so already and let us know where you're zooming in from. It's always so encouraging for everyone to see just how widespread and broad our community is. A bit of context. My name is Kimberly, and this is the Indivisible Truth Brigade Big Truths webinar. Continue the fight. For about 5.5 years, together, we've harnessed our grassroots power to disrupt the flow of disinformation. And boy, have we experienced disinformation these days. Together, we'll celebrate what we've accomplished together. And more importantly, and very exciting uh, for all of us, that we're going to plan for the future. We know that the lies will only increase. Next slide. So today's plan. I'm hoping that you're feeling welcome. We're going to have intro, we're going to have this welcome, and we're going to hear some stories from folks that have been in the field and in the fight. We've got a special guest, a couple, three, four special guests. I'm sorry. We have Leah, we have Tim, we have Cynthia, and we have Adrian. Um, we'll hear from Kelsey about the landscape ahead and today's campaign, Continue the Fight. Jody is going to join us. Our fearless leader, Jody, is going to join us about talking turkey, disinfo busting at Indivisible, and additional opportunities. And then we also will hear from some more special guests, faces that are a blast from the past, Candace and Rachel and Jake. So this is not goodbye, goodbye. This is just we're switching gears. Next slide. As you know, we are recording this call, and as always, we will email the materials and links and a copy of the video. If you've seen some instructions before, thanks for understanding. We've got lots of new folks on this call, and we just want to make sure that everybody is all on the same page. Captions, as always, are available. If you just click on the CC in the menu bar, you'll be able to access closed captioning if you need that to help you better access this call. If you're distracted by the chat, it can be a bit busy. You are able to turn the chat off. Now, if you have questions, please use the word ask in all capital letters in the chat. That helps us more easily differentiate the chat from the questions that you'd like to ask of the facilitators. And of course, in the chat, we are always neighborly and we are always kind with one another. Truth Brigaders know, Truth Brigaders know that persuasion rests on sympathy. Next slide. So tonight, we're going to hear from lots of people, staff, advisors, and volunteers who have been pretty visible in their Truth Brigade work. We know, though, that if you've joined this call, it's likely because you've been a major force in opening hearts and shifting mindsets, and that cannot go unrecognized. So we want to recognize you and the work that you've been doing. So, we're going to ask you in just a moment to take some time and share some of your brief stories in the chat. Uh, Jody's going to open what we call a whiteboard that's filled with blank sticky notes. Uh, we ran into a bit of technology challenge and we couldn't get the settings changed so that everyone can add to the stickies. So what we'll do is we'll grab your stories from the chat, the team that's working the call, and they'll put them on the sticky so that you can see uh, just what fabulous work that you've been doing. So we're gonna go to the next slide and we'll tell you what questions are available for you to answer. All right. So,
Oh, you know what? Excuse me, Kimberly, I think you have to open the whiteboard as the host.
you're the host.
Oh, I am? Oh, great.
You are
Sorry,
the
guys.
you're the hostess with the mostest.
Thank you.
Okay. So there are a few questions here. I'm going to read them to you, and then we'd like you to take a moment to see which question most resonates with you. You'll drop your question, your answer, brief answer in the chat, and then our team will put them on the whiteboard. So I'll read the questions first, and then I'll give you an example of the abbreviated kind of question answer that we would like to see. Now, and if someone would drop the questions in the chat, tell us how long you've been with the Truth Brigade, then answer the question that most appeals to you. Do you have a favorite message campaign? What was it and why? Which one stands out to you? Or did you have a successful interaction with someone who you thought would never happen? Tell us about it. Or did you change your own way of thinking as a result of your own work? Or is there something you're particularly proud of? So take a moment, think about how long you've been with Truth Brigade, and think about which one of those questions you'd like to respond to, and then drop your answer in the chat. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take the liberty of chatting up some of your favorite stories. We're loading the
Can you all see that now?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I will add, you will be inspired, we hope, by seeing all of the wonderful work and change that has happened, and you'll be able to have access to this whiteboard after the fact. So, um, Jeffrey says, oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm at the section where people were introducing themselves. All right. All right. 5 years of teaching people to communicate past differences. I've been with Phil says, I've been with Truth Brigade nearly a year, and my favorite message campaign is dissent is patriotic. Yes, I love that one. Trisha says, it changed the way I respond. The truth sandwich is always in my lexicon. Thank you, Jody and team, for teaching it. At least 5 years with the Truth Brigade. I'm
Wow.
I'm able to think before responding as a result of the Truth Brigade. Favorite message is healthcare from Yvonne over billionaires, and we have a say about this at our protests, I think is what she meant to say. Kathy says she's been with the Truth Brigade for about 4 months. Safety, not scapegoats. Here's one. I've been with Truth Brigade for about 6 months, and our team built a social media channels to push our plan to keep it up. I've had too many transformative conversations to count. I think the sandwiches we wrote were the most impactful because they were personal and original. Jody, stop me. I'm just getting lost in these, so stop me whenever you
It's,
need
it's
to.
so heartwarming. I hope everybody can see. I am putting them on the board so we can have them for later. And after the call, I'm going to go in and we'll flesh out the board and then send it to everybody.
All right.
And maybe two more if you
Oh,
want, Kimberly, and then we'll go on.
here's one, but by Edward. We're finding a lot of common ground with MAGAites lately.
Wow.
Farmers whose soybean or beef businesses have been harmed, the sick who are losing Medicaid and hospitals and more, the hungry losing SNAP and WIC for their families. And one more, the way my thinking has changed. I was hoping I'd see this. The way my thinking has changed through the Truth Brigade is that I've learned how to understand and stop misinformation. I also feel I've learned how to change people's minds in a positive and healthy way. What powerful,
Yeah.
powerful responses. And I hope you see reflected in these responses the work that you've done, and you feel a sense of pride in the way you have helped shape the direction of our country. And I think I'm turning it back to you, Jody.
Yeah, I'll share my screen again. It'll take me a minute because wait a minute, sometimes struggle with the tech issues. So let's see. I'm going to minimize this and make sure that I share the correct screen. More, share, share screen. Yes, I want to continue. I've got a message that says, oh, here we go. I see what happened. Yay, found the right thing. How we doing? Can we see it now?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, great. Thanks, Kimberly. Okay, so now we have a special video from the lovely Leah Greenberg, who is the, as you know, the executive co-director of Indivisible and has been a big supporter of the Truth Brigade from the start. And she talks a little bit about our reasoning behind why we are stopping the Truth Brigade program, and also says a lot of lovely things about all of you. So here we go. Cross fingers that we can all hear.
Hello, Truth Brigade! Before I say anything else, I want to start with a huge thank you. Thank you to the volunteers who have been with us for years. Thank you to those of you who have joined more recently. Thank you to everyone who's been part of an action team, been a mentor, an ambassador, a guide. The folks who have met regularly over the years to counter disinformation, who've built out your own innovations and skills using Truth Brigade tactics, who've made this program the special and important and critical community that it has been. It has been such a journey. I remember back in 2019 when Jody came up with the idea to put our people power to work in combating disinformation. And, look what we've done together, right? This has been a community that fosters trust-based, values-driven communication across the country in every state. It is a community that is centered education that helps to fight back against racist and scapegoating divide and conquer narratives. We have collectively popularized the Indivisible Truth Sandwich Persuasion Framework, which is now known as such across the pro-democracy movement because of the work that you collectively have done. We have modeled what it looks like to do research-based, people-centered messaging that blends behavioral science with practical activism. And we have been part of the leadership journey of so many of you, which is one of the things that I am most proud of. Everyone here who is invested in making this program what it was, in deepening your own skill set, in broadening your own ability to communicate, and in fighting the scourge of disinformation together. This has been a really special place, a space for connection, for resilience, for agency, a place that helps to sustain engagement, a source of support and empowerment and reassurance in rapid response moments when people are engaging with incredibly challenging and heavy topics. It's been an incredible group, and I'm proud that we have been able to be part of your journey together. I know this is a really bittersweet moment. We've had to make some hard choices this year as we are all in to protect our democracy, and the decision to move in this direction with Truth Brigade is one of the hardest ones of all. But I want to be clear that we are going to continue the fight against lies and disinformation. We will be weaving the lessons that we have learned from Truth Brigade and from your work throughout our program, because what we understand is that disinformation is not a separate and issue-specific problem. It is central to the regime's consolidation of authoritarian power. And that means that to maximize impact, we're going to be leaving those lessons throughout our work and weaving that combating of disinformation throughout our work. And I know on your end that the lessons and skills of Truth Brigade are also going to be woven into the work that you do going forward on the internet and in your own communities. So today, I want to honor your leadership, your work, your investment, this community, all that we have achieved together. And thank you for the journey you've been on with us. And thank you in advance for the ways that we can carry this work forward together. Thank you.
How lovely, right? Okay, now our next speaker is the extraordinary Adrian. So Adrian Gugliassi, who you probably all are familiar with, started with the Truth Brigade when it started as a volunteer and has grown into being someone on our staff. She's a mentor, she's a leader, she's a visionary, and she's my rock. So without further ado, Adrian is going to be talking with us about a few things.
Well, thank you, Jody, and thank you also, Leah. But mainly thank you to all of you, the Truth Brigade volunteers, longstanding and new, here live with us today, but also watching the recording later on. Thank you. And of course, a huge thank you to all the Indivisible staff, our steadfast consultants, and the many brilliant, engaging guests that we've had along the way. I'll never forget when I first received the email from Indivisible announcing a new project. As mis and disinformation was on the rise, that plaguing our society in 2020. Remember that ho-hum year? And we were barreling toward the most fraught and confounding election in our lifetimes. I couldn't sign up for this new group, the Truth Brigade, fast enough. 5 years later, as we draw the formal program to a close, I could easily fill up the rest of this webinar hour listing everything that we've learned here together. But of course, I won't do that. Jody might faint. But really what we've built here together is incredible. It's not just a project, but a practice. We learned to meet people where they are, to listen first, and to share messages that open hearts and minds instead of hardening positions. And that really speaks volumes. One thing we've come to recognize, and yes, sort of resent, is hypocrisy. So forgive me in advance as I knowingly break one of our own rules. Thou shalt not spew stats at people in hopes of inspiring a seismic shift in their point of view. But this isn't hypocrisy, because I'm not here to change your mind. I'm here to celebrate your minds. So buckle up, because I'm about to blow some minds with a few stats that are worth bragging about. Next slide. So the Truth Brigade has directly trained more than 18,000 people. And by bringing messaging strategies back to your group, this is what we call a cascading effect. You have reached or influenced over 250,000 people. And that's really too many to count, or too many to quantify. And on social media, on the platforms that we can still track, you've shattered expectations with well over 600 million impressions. And there's more. Those numbers really only tell part of the story. Behind every one of those are moments that can't be measured. The happenstance conversations, the letters to the editor that that sparked local dialogue, the social posts that gave a friend pause to think, or that tough comment thread that where you chose empathy over outrage. And beyond even those are the invisible ripples, the people who saw your work but never said a word, who learned from your example and carried those lessons into their own circles. You may never know their names, but they're part of your impact too. Even those times you walked away thinking, darn, I should have used a truth sandwich there. Know this, it's never too late. Trust me, there will be a next time. And with that, it is my great pleasure to introduce a longtime friend and partner to the Truth Brigade, a data analytics wizard, and someone who is not afraid to get dirty in the disinformation bogs with the best of them, Mr. Tim Chambers.
Hey everybody, it is an honor to be able to be here tonight. What an incredible ride and what an incredible arc. I mean, I think this is the longest running effort of its type, pioneering in every way. I learned as much from you all as I was able to give out, maybe more, and just wanted to just say the note that you all have inspired me again and again and again. And I can't wait to see how the lessons and knowledge gained over these years just permeates out to every part of Indivisible and then just keeps having that echo effect out. So you should all be extremely proud of the work that you've done, and it really is just the start. So thanks, everybody, and looking forward to seeing where this all evolves after this.
Thank you so much, Tim. Tim was such a an important part of the Truth Brigade for so many years. We're really glad that you popped by to say hello. I've turned off the slides so that you can see the faces of the people talking. I'm not sure if they're spotlit, but if they're not, if someone could help me with that, that would be great. And now the lovely Cynthia D is going to talk with us. Now, Cynthia helped shape the Truth Brigade. Cynthia, from I think the beginning, Cynthia has been training new members. If you went to any new member orientation over the last couple of years, Cynthia has been sitting right there as a volunteer, helping everybody. Every week, Cynthia has been in our Slack channel, guiding our message writing workshops and helping all of us just be more effective in every way, and just generally being a wonderful, warm heart and smart mind, helping this project be what it is. So 3 cheers for Cynthia, and we'll hand it over to you.
Golly, thank you, Jody.
Welcome. I feel that way. Everybody.
Oh, thank you. It's been so much fun. This has been such a wonderful opportunity. Like Adrian, I was the first second I had a chance to get involved with this, I did. And I am very much going to miss this community. The other volunteers and the staff. There have been a variety of staff. I want to dig back a little bit. Maybe you'll remember some of these names: Becca and Zoe, right? I had to really dig. Cameron and the wonderful Adrian, Lori, Rachel, all of these people, who are on the staff and were helping with us. And then we had Emily and Buddy and Nilifer on the mentor staff, and it's just been a lovely, wonderful, sane little part of my week or my month to work with these people. But here's what I really want to say. I've learned so much. I've said this many times. I will say it again. I'm not a social media person. I don't like the environment of social media for all the reasons that the Truth Brigade had to come into existence. But I learned so much. And I really learned a lot from Tim and Kelsey and everybody, so much about not repeating the disinformation, and about not arguing with people. And I just learned enough to actually be able to go and teach other people and to begin to have followers of my own. Oh my gosh, when I started with this, I was tweeting to literally exactly no one. So this has been it's just been a wonderful experience. We've learned so much, and Jody reminds me to say that not only have I learned a lot about working with people online, but also face-to-face, person-to-person, emails, letters. All of these skills have translated into wonderful skills that I will continue to use. And I'm very much looking forward to whatever's coming next here in Indivisible. Thanks.
Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, now resharing my screen. Hope everybody can see. 3 cheers for Cynthia. Okay, next. Now we're finally going to get some guidance. I know some of you may be kind of saying, oh, nice to hear from everybody, but are we actually going to learn some next steps for the future? Yes, yes, yes. We are launching a campaign. Even though it's our last webinar and our last campaign, it's still active. We're still doing stuff. And so Kelsey, unfortunately, was going to be here, but her baby got sick. And so she has to, she kindly made a video for us. Kelsey's been with us since before Truth Brigade started, as someone that I turned to for advice as to whether or not we should even start a program like that. So without further ado, we will get to her video.
Truth Brigaders, I'm so sorry that I am not here in person tonight. I have a sick baby who needed me, but my heart is with you all, I promise. And before I start in my slides, I just wanted to take a second to really express so much appreciation for this program and everything it has done over the past 5 years. I know there's a lot of that tonight, but for me, my colleague Jake and I were doing some counter disinformation work in 2020, and we got connected, I think, through Tim, who's on the call, to Jody. And so this, for me, started with this phone call. I remember I was in the DC airport in DCA. I got on the phone with this woman who was so incredibly enthusiastic and passionate and had all these great ideas, and felt like there was a need for people to push back on the lies and the disinformation and some of the extreme content that we were really seeing in that election. And we had this really great conversation where we were all sort of dumping ideas at each other and talking about our philosophies for countering these things and the research we had read. And it just, so we kind of started to design this program on the spot. And that led to a pilot project in Colorado, and that led to pretty quickly to the formation of this national program. And so I just want to say I've been so honored and grateful to be part of it. I spent a lot of my time in research and reporting mode. I say this on a lot of these calls. I spent a lot of time sort of telling people the bad stuff that's out there online. And anytime I get to be with people who are really trying to do something about it and fix it, it's just really special for me. And I don't get to do enough of it. So very grateful for everything this program has done. Very grateful to all of you for showing up week after week for like 5+ years now and being part of this. And I know that the impact is going to, live on after these calls do. So with that, I'm supposed to talk about the sort of future of, what we're facing. And I have some slides. All right. So the long and short of it is, surprise, this is not going away. Disinformation is not going away. We still have our work cut out for us. So even though this program is sunsetting, the need to push back on lies and harmful content on and offline, that's not going away. And so to put a finer point on it, I think I could sit here and name all of the many types of lies that I think we're going to see continue to percolate and like shape, our political discourse in the coming months. And probably we could all come up with a pretty solid list of that together. But here's something that I keep coming back to. This was a report by the group Over Zero that does good work on countering political violence. And they were looking at sort of the authoritarian playbook and the tactics that authoritarians use to try to take over power. And they came up with these 7 steps, one of which is very directly spreading disinformation. That is a tactic that would-be authoritarians are using. But when I look through these 7 steps, I see disinformation spread throughout all of them. The politicizing of independent institutions, putting more emphasis on executive power, quashing dissent, scapegoating vulnerable communities, corrupting elections, stoking violence. Like, all of us can think of Truth Brigade campaigns that would fit into all of these 7 categories. And so to me, that just means like this problem is built into the threat facing our country. Like the problem of disinformation is part of every piece of the threat. And that means that countering it has to be part of every piece of the solution as well, which is, I know what Indivisible is thinking about is how do we incorporate this more systemically into everything that they're doing. I've also been thinking a lot about trust and like the crisis of trust that exists. There's something called the Edelman Trust Barometer over here on the left that every year measures trust around the world. And every year for the past, I don't know, a decade probably, it's showing that trust is declining. The most recent report shows that most people have some sense of grievance that they feel like, the people in power are not doing enough to help them, basically. And we've got 40% of respondents who are starting to approve of like hostile actions to bring about change, including really scary stuff like attacking people or threats or intentionally spreading disinformation. Gallup also does some polling showing that Americans' trust in mass media has been plummeting for decades now, and that trend is only continuing downward. So all of this brings up this question of like, who do we trust when we want information and we want to know what's happening? And I am becoming increasingly convinced that the answer is going to be each other. And that is really fundamental to the way the Truth Brigade operates. There's a lot of focus when you talk to like digital strategy people on like big accounts, big followers, influencers, content creators. And I think when we're gonna reach a point where we sort of get past that, and I think we're gonna see an emphasis once again on micro conversations and trust building and community building. And when that happens, the Truth Brigaders are going to be ready to capitalize on that moment. So we know that these Truth Brigade tactics, we need them now. We're going to continue to need them in the future. And that's things like localized trust. That's like when we talk about how you all are trusted messengers, you can have an impact in your own community and with the people you talk to. The search for truth. We know that even in this sort of disinformation heavy era, people mostly want credible information. And so we can help people discover the truth by guiding them to credible information and by triggering their critical thinking. We can get people to seek out truth. And that is something that a lot of us still want. And we know that Truth Brigade is rooted in finding shared values. We're not buying into the us and them thinking where we're all being pitted against each other. We're using as a starting point always this idea that a lot of us want the same things for our lives and our families and our communities. And that's just like so fundamentally critical to everything that's going to happen from now on. So with that, I'm going to talk about our new final forever campaign. We are bringing back Disinfo Busters. Some of you might have been around for this the first time in, I think, 2023, but this is a sort of different type of message than you all are used to seeing. So this is not a truth sandwich. You all have many, many examples of truth sandwiches to pull from, and I hope you continue to use that format when you write and talk and engage with people on countering disinformation. Disinfo Busters are a little bit different. This is meant to be an add-on type of message. It's not replacing the truth sandwich, but it is another type of message that you can use. And we have some examples here on the screen. These are meant to be sort of like short, pithy, kind of slogan-y, memorable lines that are evergreen and can be used in lots of different scenarios, and that you can sort of repeat over and over. We are going to give you a list of a whole bunch of them, but here are some examples on the screen. We have some existing art, and I know there's new art as well, these graphics. What do you do with these? If you belong to a group that puts out any sort of newsletter, you can consider having some sort of weekly addition to that newsletter where you offer Disinfo Busters. They can help you build a social media following by using these on a regular schedule. You can use these to create sort of a weekly column in a local community newspaper. They can also be these like sort of pithy phrases that you keep in your back pocket for offline conversations as well, or any sort of presentation that you're doing, anything like that. So we have an explainer. As always, it's going to give you instructions, a very long and in-depth checklist of more options of Disinfo Busters, more graphics, way more resources. And this explainer is something that can live sort of outside of the Truth Brigade. It has that Truth Brigade logo on it, but it's really meant to be a resource, um, going into the future from people who have never heard of the Truth Brigade or been to one of these calls. And with that, I am going to bid my final adieu and hand this back over to Jody. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kelsey. Oh, did it make all of you a little sad? It made me a little sad, I'll tell you. Just to, keep in mind, continue to tell everyone you know about just to continue to have these important conversations one-on-one. That's how we stay optimistic. That's how we keep in this fight. When the whole world around us starts to be nothing but chaos, we still have our relationships that we can build. I'm getting a little ahead of myself because, I'm going to say a little thing at the end. But anyway, it makes me sad that we're formally ending this program. And it makes me glad to know that we're leaving you and all of us with this very robust set of messages that you can share. These, what you can see in front of you right now on the screen, these are 6 new categories of disinfo busters that were developed to carry us through this horrible regime that's going on right now. And again, you can share these disinfo busters. They're meant to be educational as opposed to persuasive. Truth sandwiches persuade people to open minds. Disinfo busters just get them thinking. It's just a teeny tidbit of education, but it can mean a lot. So the new categories are bot or not. Good one, right? Where is the truth? Speaking to what Kelsey was saying about nobody really knows where to find truth anymore. Can't trust what you used to trust. And then trust humans is a little bit different. It's celebrating all of the values that we share. So there's a lot of pithy little messages you can share there. And then propaganda playbooks: overwhelm, demoralize, and dehumanize. Again, just one comment that for someone who's not as in this as all of you are, just kind of connecting the overwhelm they might feel with intentionality on the part of our authoritarian wannabe government, right? A lot of people don't connect that. They don't see that what they're feeling is intentional. As I said, it is some horrible people's idea of what's good, right? What's good in the world is to destroy people. Anyway, that's sort of a little bit off track, but the propaganda playbook is something that I think will be really helpful for you when you're just talking with anybody to say, hey, you're feeling chaotic. Well, that's because there are people who are releasing policies hour after hour, day after day, designed to distract you, designed to confuse you, designed to make you feel like you have no power. So I'm really excited about this, refresh of the Disinfo Busters campaign for today's world. The Disinfo Busters are on Socia, which is our social sharing platform. But again, you can use them offline and in other ways as well. But you can search for Disinfo Busters, the term, on Socia. It's a category, so you can find them all there. Okay, so I also wanted to say again about this upcoming campaign, when we say continue the fight, we're not kidding. We put together so many topics for you. Each one of these topics that's listed with a bullet point has a graphic. So when you're writing your messages, you can find a really, cool and arresting graphic for each one of these topics. And then we have beefed up the messages. I just shared with you one page of this explainer. You can see for each one of these topics, there's a good number of messages. So what is that? I don't know how many, but it's probably at least 125 different messages or more. So we do want all of us, myself included, to continue this work. Okay, so that's all about our message moving forward. And I think we will have time for questions, by the way, at the end. But now I'm going to keep on talking. And I said, let's talk turkey. Cute, right? With Thanksgiving coming up. Many of you may have questions about, okay, great, we've got a campaign moving forward, but what, yeah, we're all committed. It's a great thing. We want to keep doing it, but how? What resources are there? So here's where we are. And this speaks well to what Leah was saying at the beginning, that there is a commitment at Indivisible to perpetuate the successful tactics of the Truth Brigade and to help anybody who wants to keep it going, keep it going. So our Slack channel will stay open and available. And Adrienne has told me several times about experiences that she's had with projects like this that have ended, but the people who were involved with the projects continue to stay on Slack and talk with each other. We're keeping it open. We're restructuring it so that it's as usable as possible for all of you. So do continue to use that channel to talk with each other. Social and letter to the editor storms. No reason that you can't continue to have those. I'm not going anywhere. If you have questions about how to do it, I'll be glad to, be a source to help you run something like that. If you're into social media messaging to fight disinformation, get the gang together, and it's really not hard to do. The hashtag Truth Brigade, you can continue to use it. Again, no reason not to. It will get a lot of attention. We're not going to be formally using it, but there are thousands and thousands of people who have been involved with the Truth Brigade, and so do continue to use it. So most of you may know about the Facebook page. I could see maybe some of you don't. So we started a couple of years ago a private Facebook page that was designed to be very private. And it was really only for people who had committed to sharing Truth Brigade information with their groups. So it was only, I would call it like a push page where only the administrators were able to post. And so we just posted, here's an upcoming call, here's a message to share. Somehow more than 700 people found their way to that page. And these are 700 people who were vetted. So we've changed the permissions on that page so that now you can use it. It's open for posting. It'll continue to be called the Truth Brigade because it'll be, easiest to find that way. So hope that you can continue to use that. And again, we'll be popping in now and then to say hello. And then the Friday emails, alas, they will be ending, which makes me a bit sad because I love writing them. It was a great soapbox, and it just felt like I was able to reach all of you with my heart. But that they will stop. But I think we'll be able to keep a lot of them and see if we can post them somewhere. So in addition, all the videos, all the campaign explainers, all the toolkits, everything that we have developed for you will be curated and are being curated and will live in a live web hub. In addition to instructions as to, if you want to fight disinformation, here's how to do it. And so for anybody who's even new and just coming into this work, you'll be able to find both instructions and archives of everything we've done. So they'll stay there and easily accessed. If you're an ambassador, that Adrienne has been developing an ambassador training toolkit, and that's for anybody who wants to start working on Truth Brigade within their groups. We'll still have those available to everyone. Socia, the social media sharing site, is staying up, and all of our Truth Sandwiches will still be available there. And it will be embedded into the new web hub. So when you go to the website, you can just click a button and share messages. Graphics will still be available. Letter to the editor generator will still be available. So again, you can see we are committed to making this work continue as much as we possibly can. So that's Truth Brigade. And now what about additional work with Indivisible? So some of you, you might want to explore other kinds of actions. Where do you fit? Truth Brigaders, I know, are strategic thinkers. And I'll probably say that again. People who come to fight disinformation are people who are, like you, really keen not to respond to the thing of the moment, but to find the causal factors behind what's happening in society. You think that way. You care about not just making a change today, but problem solving and getting to the root of things. And I value that so much in you. I know that's why we all get along, because we have thinking the same kinds of ways. You have become, if you've been with a Truth Brigader, a great communicator. What did I just say? Truth Brigader? If you've been with the Truth Brigade, you are likely a great or growing communicator. You're an organizer, because this kind of work takes thinking about reaching groups and reaching a lot of people. You care, clearly. You're brave. It takes courage to talk to someone who feels differently than you, to take a breath and recognize in your own self where you might be bringing bias to a conversation. That takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to recognize and shift your own mindset. You're empathetic, informed, and persuasive. And you understand how to fight disinformation. So I wanted just to say all that to let you know any team would be so lucky to have you. So do think about all the skills that you've gained with this work. And I just, say you've been to the Truth Brigade and everybody's going to be very excited. So the specific projects that we recommend that you consider right now, I love the Courage Collectives. We've talked about that a little bit. So Courage Collectives, the goal is to influence influential communities to resist authoritarianism. So that's like, groups of health professionals and groups of business professionals and religious and faith-based communities, because these are the places that can actually push back against what's happening right now in our government, because so many other pillars of our society have crumbled. I think that this is an interesting place for people like you, people like me, people who think about the foundations of the problems in our society, as I mentioned before. And I think that this project kind of has that same mentality of saying, okay, what's actually causing this? How do we problem solve? How do we get together in an effective way? So I like that project. Another one is very specific, which is, it's called the Micro Creator Project. And this is, if you're into social media, this project gives you a chance to use your social media skills to amplify a lot of Indivisible campaigns. So keep an eye out for that. And then the final one that I recommend for all of you is Neighbor to Neighbor, which will be ramping up and doing a lot more work over the next year. So Neighbor to Neighbor is a program where you knock on a neighbor's door. You're given names of people who are like-minded, but who maybe need a little persuasion to get out there and actually, get involved in civil society. And you, as somebody who, especially if you prefer one-to-one connections, you'll find a lot to make you happy. It's very gratifying to build a relationship. And it's very similar to building Truth Brigade relationships. In fact, the Neighbor to Neighbor program piloted with the Truth Brigade using Truth Brigade messaging. So there you go. So if you'd like to brainstorm further, we are having another and our final open house conversation where you can drop by with your questions. And that's Friday, November 14th. At noon Eastern time. And we'll be there and would love to hear from you and answer whatever questions you have. Okay, I'm done with my 10 minutes. And now I'm excited to hear from Candace, who's going to talk about continuing the work in a very practical way. So Candace, I will stop sharing my screen and welcome you. Candace has just been a champion of the Truth Brigade for years. And I just have to say that Candace's work in Illinois often has more people attend it than our national calls. So she's just been amazing.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, we've had some wonderful webinars, but I'm actually with Indivisible Evanston. And when Truth Brigade first started, we partnered up with some other groups that are part of Indivisible Illinois, and we formed Truth Brigade Illinois. And we hosted a lot of great meetings with Anat Shenker-Osorio and Jody Rain. And we did have some great meetings. But the other thing we do is every other week we have an hour and a half where we would have the Truth Sandwich Shop. And we would bring people in to create and share both the Truth Brigade messaging, some of Anat Shenker-Osorio's work, and then we would create them, then we would amplify it. And we worked with each of the groups to amplify it. So we've been doing that for 3 years, and it's been well, how long has it been? Maybe longer than that. But so we didn't want to lose it when we heard, that Truth Brigade was going to be integrated into the rest of what Indivisible's doing. We said, well, that actually makes a lot of sense. And since we represent a bunch of different Indivisible groups and we're all into the whole integration thing, what we decided to do was pivot and keep the structure, but we are going to rename ourselves, and I will show you our logo. Let's see. There you go. Can you see that? No kings, no lies. So it's an indivisible group called No Kings, No Lies, and we're going to continue to have our every other week meetings. And you'll like this, Jody. We're now going to call them No Lies Labs. So we will be continuing to fight disinformation. We will continue to use the information that you guys provide as well as other information. And we invite anyone who wants to join us on that. We have a fairly big list. But yeah, so we think that fighting disinformation is critical, and there's no reason to not continue to put out that messaging. And we're capitalizing on the No Kings popularity, and we will continue to share it on all sorts of social media. So if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer them, but I think I covered the basics there.
This is just, you just so rock. It's such a great idea, and no reason people can't join you or form their own No Kings, No Lies. I just love it. And again, if people want more information about it, Candace, maybe we should connect, and I'll share it in the upcoming newsletters that are still going to continue at least through the end of November. So thank you so much for that. So now we've got one more speaker that we're very happy to hear from, and that's the lovely Rachel. Rachel Salo has been a Truth Brigade staff member and supporter for years, and a dear friend, and is now just fighting the big fight in North Carolina. And so, Rachel, you want to come and say a hi to everybody here?
Certainly, sure. Hi, everyone. I wanted to kind of take a moment and make it personal, bring it home for folks and say, my story with Indivisible, like so many of you, started as an early volunteer and in leadership with my local group. And I was fortunate to be hired to organize North Carolina in 2019. And for 5 years, I was blessed to be a part of amazing work that all of Indivisible did. And very early in that, Jody and I became friends, and she presented with me the opportunity to be a part of this program. And man, did I find my home, because this was so much a piece of my heart. And, the appreciation I have for all of the incredible volunteers that really dedicated so much of their life and their time to getting truth out there to people and getting good messaging out for everyone. And the transition from becoming a volunteer to being a big part of this. And then back in February, I stepped back from my position and let it go. I'm returned to being a group leader, like many of you in this space are again. And the work never stops. I'm blessed to still get to connect. It's like Nilla been in this fight with us since the beginning with the Truth Brigade, because she's here in North Carolina with me. But I just wanted to name how much effort we've all put in and how much of our heart will keep going forward as we do this work with commitment, because this work carries on. And whether we're on the volunteer side or on the staff side, we're going to be out here doing this work, and it's not just Indivisible. One of the great experiences I had working with the Truth Brigade was the creation of a program we called The Road that lasted for a couple of years. It was relational organizing with other organizations that were also running disinformation combating programs. And, whether it's through Indivisible or through the many other organizations out there, it was wonderful to collaborate together. And I want you all to keep collaborating as you go forward as well. So thank you, Jody, for the opportunity to come on tonight and say hello and a very, very sad goodbye to my last Indivisible Truth Brigade call.
Thank you, Rachel, and thanks so much for coming. And so, guys, I'm just going to say a little bit, and then we'll open it up for questions, and then we'll say goodnight. So I just want to say that I'm extraordinarily grateful to have had the opportunity to work with so many really brilliant and dedicated people to shape this project, which grew beyond our biggest hopes. I mean, more than 500 million impressions. It's hard to wrap your mind around. Um, I came to Indivisible as a late in life second career when Trump was first elected. I'd spent 30 years already in book publishing. I'm reading, as you can tell. And I couldn't believe it when Indivisible hired me, actually. And our dark world today can make us feel so much sadness, so much impotence, which is exactly the opposite of what people need to thrive. But when I think individually about the contributions we've all been able to make and what each of you do every day to essentially save the world, it's hard to feel so down. And I just want to say, I've learned so much. I came to this project, like so many of you, thinking, well, if only they knew the truth, they would act differently. I've always been fascinated by human interactions and how we're in a constant battle between our best selves and our intrinsic dark sides, the tribalism and defensiveness that we're all burdened with. I mean, we're all creatures of evolution, and that just is what we have to contend with every day. But before I began this work, I really didn't recognize my own biases, my own dark side, my own lack of respect for different opinions that, came up a little too often. And I felt, well, how lucky there's a Lakoff, right? Anyway, so everything we built into our messaging framework relied on years and years of really smart people's research. Okay, so as disinformation fighters, we may be more aware than most of the depravity and immorality of so many people currently in power. So I have to come back to that cynicism that the realistic analytical brain common to us disinformation fighters can bring. So what I was trying to say there was that because we're thinking so analytically and we're so aware of what's going on, it's really, really hard not to get cynical. So with that and all of you, it kind of blows my mind to know how warm and kind you are, every single one of you that I've met. You help me remember that humans are the front lines in the fight for decency. And I'm not going to stop using Truth Brigade tactics. I'm not going to stop teaching Truth Brigade tactics in all my work. And I can't wait to see where our paths next cross. Truth Brigaders, you are my dream team. And I see we're losing people while we're keeping hearts, and we're losing people. So with that, if anybody has any questions, we have just a couple of minutes if you want to pop in the chat. And if not, do come on Friday. Love all those hearts. Thank you. Do come on Friday to ask them in person, and we'll see what we can do together to keep up this good work. So I think with that, I'm not seeing questions. I think we've all probably had enough. So thank you all so much. Much love to all of you. Stay strong. It's really so hard these days. So stay strong. Much love. Good night, all.